Beers and Birds.
Run.
Welcome to Beers and Birds. We drink beer and we talk about the Super Bowl Eagles. Podcasting from the world famous lounge. I'm Rob Wheeling. I'm here with Brad Fly Eagles Fly Weaver.
E-A-G-L-E-S Eagles!
That's right. And Mike on the wings of victory, Wallace. All right. Sean Moneyball Cottrell will be joining us a bit later. You're listening to us now, but how about you tell your friends to listen to us on iTunes and Stitcher? And why don't you tell you and your friends to give us a nice 5-star rating? It really helps us. It really makes us feel good. Tell us whatever you like. Tell us it's the Eagle in the Super Bowl. God damn it. You want to keep other beer selections? You can do that at Beers and Birds Pod on the Untapped app. Check us out. See what we're drinking. See what we liked. Then you can go check us out at beersandbirds.com. You know you want to see what we're up to. Why don't you go over there and take a look? You want to say hello to us? Because we want to say hello to you. We are at Beers and Birds on the Twitter. This pod, we are talking about the Eagles going to the Super Bowl with Mr. Nick Foles against the hated Patriots.
Straight up evil.
Straight up evil. Screw you, New England. But first, Mike, what beer are we drinking today?
Well, my hands have been a little tired this season from all the clapping.
So
yes.
And waving them up and down, I'm sure.
Yes. They're a little tired. I felt appropriate to go to the Tired Hands Brewing Company out of Ardmore, Pennsylvania. We're drinking let me try and pronounce this correctly, Ourison.
Ourison, like saison.
Ourison?
It's like Ourison, except it's their saison. Ourison. Yeah.
Ourison.
It is an oak fermented saison. I know that much.
Perfect. Yes, it's like a little farmhouse.
Yep. It's
very effervescent.
It's a
We
quality.
got this in a bomber
quality
bottle,
local
too.
brewery that we've. I wouldn't say local, but it's about an hour drive. So it's
So the
close
Amtrak
enough.
stops there.
And
That's right.
They produce quite a few good beers on many different levels, whether it be sours, saisons. They've also done quite a few good IPAs.
What'd you think of your visit there not too long ago?
It's cool. They actually have two places in town about 2 blocks from one another. One is the original cafe where they have some of their brewing equipment, but they actually moved into a warehouse that just has larger brewing equipment as well.
Like expanded, got bigger
Right.
type.
One is called the Fermenteria. That's the bigger expansion type joint that used to be a
Fermenteria.
warehouse. And then other places, a cafe, it's about 2 blocks away. So we were fortunate enough to sneak away to both. Grabbed a bottle of this and said, what a great beer to try right before the Super Bowl here.
Damn right.
Damn right, because our hands are going to be so tight and clapping for all the incredible plays they'll be making.
No, it comes off. It has a great odor. It has a great
Real light
smell.
looking
Like
beer,
if
isn't
you
it?
want
Yeah.
like a saison, like this is what I think it should smell like.
Yes, this is absolutely.
Just has a little bit of herbal hint to it. Just a light, crisp beer. I think it's coming in at 4.8%. So
No, I like
It's
that.
kind of hair bitey.
right
In
up
the
Rob's
way
alley.
you want your saisons to be.
Well, I mean, the color itself is what? It almost looks like champagne. It gives me
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a champagne,
a little hazier.
a
little hazier, but yeah.
champagne, but
Quite
yeah,
bubbly,
certainly
too.
has that.
Yeah.
And had a nice head coming out of the bottle.
Absolutely.
Not too thick and foamy, but thick enough to let you know that there's certainly carbonation in there. Smells really good.
It does.
For real.
The taste.
I'm trying to think what
the
this
taste
smells
was
like.
unexpected.
Certainly spicy.
Yeah.
But what spices, I don't know. But it certainly smells spicy. I don't know. How else would you guys describe it besides spicy?
In the description, they mention oak, which I don't really see. Or I'm not really getting a lot of. This is like lemongrass.
It tastes very white wine-ish to me. Honestly.
And maybe that's just because of the fairly... What would you color that? Yeah.
Well, as we know from previous episode, that saison is a type of a sour, so you
That's
do
true.
get a sour bite.
This
when
is
you
the
first-
most sour saison I've ever had, though. Not that that's a bad thing, but I was just on. It was not when I saw it was a saison, and when I took a sip, I was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, I would say it's a good blend of
Absolutely, it's
a
very good. It was just
bitey or
unexpected.
sour saison.
Yeah. But I mean, most saison. I mean, I feel aren't quite this.
No.
light. Yeah.
This is an interesting thing for me because I'm a huge saison fan, yet I don't like sours, or I don't like really sour beers.
Do you feel conflicted?
Okay. Do you feel this is more of a traditional saison or more? I mean, I'm almost tasting it, and if I blind tasted it, I would probably guess it was a sour. But
Right. But this doesn't cross the line for me yet where I'm like, oh, too sour.
Like
Right.
it.
Yeah.
It definitely tastes like a sour. I mean, definitely. Well, it's definitely sour tasting. So I'm a little shocked it's a saison.
But I think the nice thing
the
about it is the some of the spices and other oak element in
Absolutely.
there kind of temper the sourness a little bit.
Yes.
And it comes across smooth. And most of their beers, one of the things you'll find about great beers, whether you're talking about, the Alchemist Heady Topper and things like that they'll find a way to bring across their flavor in a smooth manner. And for whatever reason, this drinks smoothly. It certainly has a sour aftertaste, but it's smooth. It's drinkable. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's a nice tasting beer.
Let me read their description of it here, because I feel like this is very apt. It says, Ourison represents the progression and evolution of our saison fermentation program. Ourison is our saison. Left to condition in oak and then allowed to fully express itself via a lengthy bottle conditioning period. The end result is a highly refined, snappy, and pungent saison that I feel is one of the most simplistic and exciting iterations of the saison that they have ever produced. Pungent. Yeah. I like that word there.
It is, because when you taste it, I feel like it tastes clean, but it tastes pungent on the sour part, and it's smooth on the after, like the follow through.
It's very crisp too.
Yeah,
it's very crisp.
It's crisp, and a lot of the things I like in a beer, and
a little bit hazy. Yeah,
Definitely a little hazy.
Definitely a little cloudiness. You hold it up to light, you definitely can't see through it.
No,
but overall, it's crisp, it's clean, it's sour, and it's smooth on the follow through. So
Absolutely.
I think that hits a lot of the baskets
It
as
is.
far as like making a good beer. And you may not agree with the style, but the beer itself is great.
It really
It's
is.
Really, it's
and
good.
and it's different. It's a different kind of saison. Like you don't get this very often. So.
Yeah.
Like it really sort of took me by surprise.
And I guess that's maybe why they named it Ourison, where it's like not saison, but it's our version.
It's
of
theirs on. Yeah.
So, what's ours now? This is also Ourison. Enjoy this.
So I happened to get it in a bomber bottle, and I think it's great. I like it quite a bit.
It's a very good call. I applaud it.
I applaud it. I'm a fan. So let's see what other people thought about this. Our friends at Beer Advocate gave it a 4.23 out of 5. So that is an exceptional rating,
That's a great rating,
especially from those fellas.
Yeah,
Holy crap,
because you have a lot of the beer connoisseurs and people kind of with high-end beer taste that kind of go through that site. So when you get a 4.23 out of them, I feel like that's a strong rating. I mean, basically, like if I see beers 3.7 or higher, I'm like, I want to try this beer. But this is a 4.23.
Yeah.
This is well above that. And the score is pretty much probably similar to what I would have it at. It's just a really good beer. It's
solid.
It's one of the best beers, and this isn't even my kind of style. But it's one of the best beers we've tried on the podcast.
I could almost just like sip this.
Absolutely.
Like I want to say the word funk, but in a positive way.
Yes.
Like this is fun and refreshing.
Yes. I think it'd be great summertime beer for sure.
Yeah, it has that crisp, like lawnmower type beer, except not like the Radler kind of taste, like the sour saison, the crisp. The carbonation is perfect.
Absolutely.
The Radler would be like a JV player compared to this varsity level beer.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
no, this is great, and I guess this is why they sell it in the bomber bottles rather than traditional cases usually. So
it's also 4.8, so that helps. So you could probably do a whole bomber bottle and not get too silly.
Yeah, 4.8. That's definitely has redrinkability. So
Oh, sure. So let's see what our good friends at Rape Beer. Well, they really enjoyed it as well.
Guess this, folks. Yeah.
They enjoyed it as well. They enjoyed it a whole lot. They gave it a 99 overall and a 99 for style. So they are in love with this beer even more than they're in love with other beers. I don't think I've seen a 99. Did we see any other 99?
we saw 100. They gave some beer 100 that we rated. I saw we've seen it overall.
No.
Bud Light
way.
Lime? Was it that one? No, it was not. That wasn't.
No,
we didn't check.
It was Magic Hat number 8.
The original seed of the Magic Hat. But 99, honestly, out of all the ratings, this is almost. It really is that good a beer. I mean, if you're, if you're rating it as Rape Beer does, on a curve, it really probably actually almost deserves that.
Should we go into personal ratings here?
We should.
I'm thinking I'd really like 4.25 here.
I'm going to give it a 4.5.
Ooh,
I like it.
I was thinking that too.
I
give it a
think
good 4.5.
I think I'm going 4.5. So
Good. I like our rounding up there.
overall, we're going to go with 4.5 overall rating with this, and
A sour that doesn't pucker.
Yeah.
That's what this
Oh,
is.
I like that. The sour that doesn't pucker.
yeah, it's
I
smooth
enjoy
off the
that.
palate. You're not just. I mean, it's there. It lingers a little bit, but it's not like you're like kind of trying to clear it off your tongue, kind of thing. It's great.
I enjoy it. Go get that B&B Nation.
It's kind of like the beer that you might not initially go for, but it might be like your backup. But then you realize it actually performs really well.
That's right.
Well, I mean, now we have to go from Tired Hands the Brewery to Tired Hands the quarterback. News and notes.
Little news and
Alex
notes.
Smith, the old head, is traded to the Redskins within the division. I know this is the Super Bowl episode, but we'd be remiss not to mention the fact that somebody in our
And we have
division
the Andy Reid
impacted
tie-in.
already. Yeah, right before the Super Bowl. The timing's kind of questionable because the deal can't consummate till March 14th. So you're announcing this right before the Super Bowl, and it involves Andy Reid. So
Andy Reid just trying to steal thunder. That's all that is. That's all that is.
I was
Sour
thinking
grapes.
about that.
Andy.
I don't think he's that kind of guy, but I'm
Sour.
curious.
He's much like the saison.
Why did this
Sour.
not be announced now?
I'm sure he wanted to get them on record as having done this as soon as he could. If I'm Andy Reid.
I feel Andy Reid might not like Alex
I feel
Smith
like
that
Washington probably wanted to do like a Friday afternoon news dump and try to get this as little coverage as possible.
Hey, man.
much. Washington's
I don't
stupid
know.
in everything they do. They're probably just like, we'll take him. We'll take him for him. What do you want for him?
Right. They're getting trashed as they should because it was a terrible
Well,
move.
they
before we
always
go
make
in
terrible
depth to
moves.
the trade itself, let's see if we can bring on Moneyball Cottrell. Sean, are you out there, bro?
What's up, fellas?
How you doing, Sean?
Yeah,
Super Bowl, son.
man. I'm really excited, man. And like I said, I want to talk the majority about the Eagles, but briefly mention this this deal that impacts the division and kind of assess what the Redskins gave up to get Alex Smith, 33, going on 34. The amount of money it sounds like they're giving him.
Of shifting talent as well.
Yeah, so
Looks good sometimes, not so good others.
So specifics on the deal, the contract are not really out there yet, but I heard $70 million
good.
guaranteed, an average of like $23.5 million a year. So you're looking at mid 90s overall contract, $70 million guaranteed. And the Redskins also gave up a third round pick and a talented young cornerback. That seems, for a lateral move at quarterback, that seems like a lot to give up to me. So what are you guys' thoughts?
Oh, it seems like a lot to give up, but I mean, they did. I don't think Andy Reid liked him very much. It seems like he was just trying. He wants this kid. He wants the new kid. So I think he was just trying to get whatever for him, and I think he got a little bit.
No, I think that on the Kansas City Chiefs side, I think it's good. I think Washington gave
Right.
up too much to.
Oh yeah,
get
well,
him.
Washington always gives up too much.
They're going back to what Washington historically does.
Yeah, let's overpay for a player with a name. Yeah, that's what they do.
Sure, and
Pretty-
Alex Smith
pretty
doesn't even have a
sensibly.
name.
He does this season.
I mean, the trade itself, if you say just like forget about Kirk Cousins, just take the Alex Smith for the third round pick and the cornerback. It's not a terrible, I wouldn't want that for my team, but
No,
it's not horrible. Like Alex Smith is a serviceable quarterback.
that's a lot to give up for
especially
just a serviceable
he's coming
quarterback.
he's coming over into a similar offense. It is a lot to give up, but you know what? You can't play in this league without a serviceable quarterback. And so I think
fair enough.
if you put yourself in the Redskins situation, it's kind of a tough situation to be in. Like, they don't have the ability to go up and draft a quarterback number 1 or number 2 overall. So what are they going to do? Like, they want to go to somebody like
You tank. That's what you
like
do.
whoever. So, to me, it's like, all right, I think they think they have a decent team, and they actually, to their credit, they were pretty good this year before they had $1 million in. Like, they had $1 million. Their entire team got hurt. Now, when you factor Kirk Cousins into the equation, that's where it doesn't really make sense to me. You should have just signed Kirk Cousins. He's been good for you this whole time. He's spent years in your system. I mean, how many times have you seen a team trade the farm for a quarterback, for Robert Griffin III, have him turn out to be a bust, and they still make out okay because they luckily drafted another quarterback in the fourth round who turned out to be better. How many times do you see it? They got so lucky, and they just stupidly just let it go.
Which they then chose to not believe in and kick the can down the road and insult him for years to the point where he was like, screw you, I'm not signing here anymore.
And the problem is, if you're expecting the same production out of Alex Smith this year in Kansas City, next year in Washington, newsflash, you don't have a Tyreek Hill, you don't have a Jason Kelsey, and you don't have a Kareem Hunt.
You don't have an Andy Reid either.
Yeah,
Correct.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. And if you want to take Josh Doxson, Jordan Reed, who's hurt every other game, and Samaje Perine as your three replacements for the 3-year losing from Kansas City, oh, good luck. I mean, I think that bodes well for the Eagles moving forward, but and then to lose a cornerback who probably was going to be starting. Brashad Breeland is probably gone via free agency. So I forget, bad research by me, but I forget the cornerback's name, but he was going to step up into the starting second quarterback role there opposite Josh Norman. So you gave up a starting cornerback.
Yeah, Fuller.
So that's ridiculous, and that's just another Dan Snyder move, dude. I'm happy for it. Whatever. It's the same way I felt when Wade Phillips was the Cowboys coach. I was like, keep letting this happen, please, please keep letting this happen. So, it was a net negative for them because they wash a quarterback and you lose a cornerback and a draft pick.
Hail to the Redskins front office.
I'll take it.
Hail, not victory.
I mean, all that does for me means with the Giants, Eli obviously deteriorating. They're going to have to draft probably a quarterback with their first round pick. What are they? 2 overall, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
honestly, it's slightly annoying though.
So the division is basically it's the Eagles and the Cowboys for the immediate future. For the next couple of years, we're going to be the guys battling out with those guys for the division. So I like it. Good stuff.
Speaking of the NFC East, what is that thing that the Cowboys, Giants, and Redskins are all not in this weekend?
Would it be the Super Bowl?
I'm going to say the Super Bowl too. I'm with you guys.
Justin Timberlake fan club.
No, they're in that. Come on now.
Damn.
It is. Even though I have heard musings in Eagles forums about the occasional Cowboys fan that comes on there. If we had Elliott all year, that we'd be in the Super Bowl this year.
Oh, I like the ones that say, you know how many injuries we had to deal with as a Cowboys? I'm like, go fuck yours.
Yeah, how many injuries do we deal with?
Right.
And we still got it. We lost a Pro Bowl left tackle, an up-and-coming linebacker.
We lost Sproles off the jump.
And our up-and-coming quarterback that could be one of the best in the league moving forward. So we lost just as much as you did.
Oh, I'd say
Thank
more.
you, Cowboys.
Yeah.
It's all good. So, I mean, moving forward, Sean, do you think it's kind of, you can never tell, and there are always up-and-coming teams that you don't expect, but do you think it appears to be kind of a Cowboys-Eagles thing for the immediate future?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, for the immediate future, I think, it's hard if you don't have a quarterback. I mean, I think for the next 2 or 3 years, the Redskins and Giants might still be a thorn in our sides. But if they don't have a quarterback in a couple of years, they're going to fall off the map. And really, it's just going to be the Eagles and Dallas left. Although Dak Prescott looks like total dog shit the last couple of weeks of the season. So that's exciting. But
we all like that.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree, but you just never know. Like, I think if you polled NFC East fans last year, they might have said, "Oh, it looks like it's the Cowboys and Giants," for the next couple of years. And
shit moves quick.
Things can change quickly. I mean, you have scenarios where somebody like Jared Goff, who looks like garbage last year, all of a sudden a coach that shouldn't be coaching in the league gets removed, and you put in somebody competent. All of a sudden, this team out of nowhere has talent everywhere, and the quarterback puts it together, and the Rams become a viable, force.
Yeah.
So yeah, it can happen quickly. So I don't want to like kind of rest on our laurels, but it looks good because Eli's probably going to play next year. He's going to be the starter. The little age regression.
Well, if he has some wideouts, he might be a bit better. I mean, they all got hurt this season.
Yeah. But they still don't have a running game. They still don't
No.
have an offensive line.
No.
They've
Defense
got a ways
is
to go.
suspect.
And they have all those high-priced defensive free agents from 2 years ago that all of a sudden didn't produce this year. So, I would be feeling good anyway because if you have Carson Wentz, you got to be feeling good just regardless. But
And you're in the Super Bowl.
I'm feeling pretty good. Yeah, we're in the Super Bowl without Wentz.
I'm feeling good with Nick Foles.
Hell yeah.
Nick Foles won every meaningful game since Carson Wentz went out. I won't count that 6-0 atrocious Cowboys-Eagles game at the end of the season, but Nick won every other game regardless of Nick's ups and downs. We've won every game since then.
So, are we moving out of news and notes? Because we have one more point in news and notes we need to discuss.
All right.
That is fuck the Pats. So, there we go. That's what we had as our bullet point was fuck the Pats.
I agree.
I think we can all agree that's a good statement. I think it's a powerful, significant statement.
Yeah, and we're going to try to fuck the Pats.
We're going to try to fuck those Pats hard. So, how are we going to fuck those Pats? What do you think, boys? What do you think the
with Long, Cox,
long Cox,
some other defensive linemen? That's how we'll try to fuck them. But yeah, I think Sean's digging into the defense a little bit with an article for Crossing Broad. Is that going to be posted tomorrow?
Yeah, it should
Thursday.
be. Thursday.
Okay. And then I had done a little research as well. So I'll set the table and then I'll let you kind of follow through there with the Pats defense versus our offense. Now, on first look, the Pats defense is pretty bad overall. I mean, it's 29th overall, giving up 366 yards a game, 30th against the pass, I think 251 yards a game, and 114 against the run, which is 20th. They yield the most yards per drive in the NFL, which is 35.7, which is kind of crazy that every time he gets the ball, on average, they're traveling 35.7 yards down the field. But I think where they make their difference is they have the traditional bend but don't break. Well, I mean, it's not traditional because Matt Patricia plays an unorthodox defense, but it's a defense that only gives up 18.5 points per game, which is 5th in the league. We're 4th at 18.4. So even though they give up a lot of yards, they don't give up points. So they allow people to kind of drive down the field, then they tighten things up when you get around 20. And, Patricia takes players, and I think what he does that I don't understand why more coaches, just in sports in general, don't do. He caters to the talent he has, and he builds a defense based on that. And a lot of times people are like, this is my scheme. I'm going to try to fit you in my scheme. And often it doesn't work.
Yeah, so most of them just aren't that good.
You have a lot of super athletes in the NFL. And when you're able to take each athlete and kind of manufacture a defense based on their skills, that just bodes well. And that's why, teams can't score on them. When they get down to the 20, they end up having to kick a field goal or they turn the ball over. Trisha's been there, and they had a 3-4 back in the day that had like Ty Warren and who was that? Richard Seymour. Yeah, and the real big thick nose Will Fork. So they had a 3-4. They had a 3-4 with those guys. Now they've really transitioned to like a 4-3-3-4 hybrid. So they're kind of like bouncing. They're basing things. They're kind of bouncing in and out of like coverages, and a lot of times they'll bring pressure, but it's not really pressure because they'll bring an overload on one side, but they'll drop a D-back into short coverage to cover something, a short pass, dump off to the running back, things of that nature. So
things like LeBeau and Jim Johnson used to do, like try and bring pressure without making it actually bring pressure.
Yeah.
Just feel like it.
They do a lot of smart things, and for him to be able to like take the reverse of what the usual context of a defensive coordinator or any coordinator in the NFL is said, here's my system, come fit it. He's saying, I see what you do well, and I'm going to try to make my scheme fit the players I have. So it's really quite impressive what they did. Like I said, with the number of yards they give up, to be giving up, 29th most yards in the league, but only 5th most in points. That means they really tighten things down.
That's a sizable disparity.
And that starts with the two great corners they have Butler and
Gilmore. Yeah.
And they start there, and they're able to kind of play smart football in the red zone and not give up a lot of touchdowns. I don't know if that segues into what you're writing, Sean, but what do you think about Patricia and their defense?
Yeah, no, that segues almost perfectly into some of the things, I was writing about. You didn't mention the pencil that Patricia has behind his ear, though.
Very important.
I think that's key in the red zone specifically.
His pencil game and his beard game is very strong.
He wore the pencil to media night the other night, though, which is...
Did he really?
That was like a violation for me.
I kind of half fell asleep. I didn't see all of that.
Yeah, there's pictures of it I've seen. I'm like, why are you... I don't know. I didn't like that. I thought that took too far.
It sounds like he's starting to rival Tom Brady for biggest douche.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's a tough kind to take.
I know.
But yeah, I think one of the things that makes this Patriots defense, and not even just the defense, this is really the whole team aside from Brady, it's made it all work for all these years. Belichick is, like you said, he doesn't force people into a scheme or certain roles.
Right.
And the Patriots really play positionless ball.
They kind of do, don't they? Yeah.
Like the best example you can think of is what's his name? Patrick Chung played for the Eagles last year.
Yeah.
Or
a couple years ago.
Not well, but he did.
So
yeah.
He was not exciting.
That's my point. So he comes to the Eagles, and the Eagles are like, okay, Patrick Chung is a safety. You play safety for the Eagles. And when he goes out and he plays free safety and he does and they ask him to do all the things that free safeties are supposed to do, and I'm using air quotes here, he's not good at it. Then he goes back to New England and Bill Belichick says, you're not going to play safety. You're going to play run-stopping tight end getter. And so that's what he does.
I like where you're going here.
He plays in the box. And he matches up with tight ends. And he's, for whatever reason, he's good at doing those two things. So those are the two things that Belichick asks him to do. He doesn't ask him to be a middle-of-the-field safety and make plays on, make plays all over the field. He doesn't have the quickness to do that. But, and this is where Belichick is different. Half of the league would throw him in the trash because he's not quick enough to play safety. Right, but he's not a safety. He's a run-stopping tight end getter. So, like that's what makes it so special. Like he can do two things well, but Belichick puts him in a position to do those two things. And then if you extrapolate that to all 53 guys on the roster, and then you go out to like free agency and how he does player acquisition and the draft, where most teams are looking for the big boomer bust guy in the draft. Belichick is looking for a safety from New Hampshire State Division III, and he wants that safety because he's a good gunner on special teams. And that's all he's going to ask him to do. Yeah. But you have guys that can do one or two things, and that's it. And everyone else throws them in the trash. Belichick picks them up and says, all right, well, you're going to do those one or two things for us. And so now when you have 53 guys playing, and they're only playing in their good situations, mostly, that the sum is much greater than am I saying this right? The whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
There you go.
And that's what makes them that's been a huge factor for them all these years when they've been paying Brady millions of dollars. They've been paying Gronk millions of dollars. They have their share of stars, but like at some point you have to save money somewhere. And so they're saving money all across the roster by finding these guys who can only do one or two things and only asking them to do those things. It's so simple, but nobody does it. That's what's crazy about it.
I would say the only other team in my mind that does it is the Steelers. The Steelers have their system, and they have their kind of players they like, and they always happen to get these linebackers in the mid to late rounds that kind of fit their scheme and what they ask of them. And perhaps that's the reason they're pretty good as well. I mean, certainly the quarterback doesn't hurt having Roethlisberger there and the talent they have on offense.
Yeah,
but for a long time, they were able to pluck great linebackers for their system in the mid rounds, and where other teams are looking for special teams players in the third and fourth round. they're plucking guys that are a valuable part of their defense as well. So, yeah, there are a few that do it, and the ones that do it well are the teams that win regularly.
I think it also helps if you're Patrick Chung and you're, as Sean was saying, everybody else throwing you in the trash. Belichick found you this role. I would imagine that motivates you even more because you're just like, I'll kill myself for
There's
this guy.
a little bit of loyalty involved.
Yeah,
there?
absolutely.
Definitely.
I will kill
Sure.
myself for this guy. So, I imagine that helps as well. Like, knowing that you'd be in a trash heap elsewhere.
From what I hear, Belichick is like the most awkward guy in the world. Like, I think he, players say they walk by him in the hallway and he doesn't say anything to he doesn't even acknowledge it.
He's socially awkward.
He's like a weirdo savant type, sure.
Chip Kelly guy?
Oh, he's like Dustin, and he's like Rain Manish. He's just like...
But
that also goes the other way where, like, he's not probably getting in those weird, like, blow-ups or, like, getting insane, like, blown up in their face. That probably
he'd blow up. He'd just cut you without telling you.
I distinctly remember Brandon Boykin being like, Chip Kelly wouldn't say hi to me in the hallway.
Wow.
Yeah, well, the difference is Belichick wins. If you
Correct.
Win,
Yes.
Correct.
if you win, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. You can be as weird as you like if you got that kind of record.
Yeah.
And
I did want to have just one slight corollary that doesn't actually connect to anything, but I found it interesting. As you were talking about Patrick Chung being like this, not exactly a safety, it reminded me in baseball, Corey Kluber doesn't have like a slider or a curveball. He just calls it like a breaking ball. And he says he literally can't throw a slider because if he tries to throw it, it fucks up. But as long as he throws just a weird ass breaking ball, he calls it. It's not actually labeled like a safety. It's not labeled a safety or a curve. It's just breaking ball or tight end getter. Like, it's just a weird way to think about it slightly differently that makes it work.
Yeah, I love that analogy, Sean, where he just uses them for these sort of bizarre, very specific roles. And they do it really well.
Seattle would do that.
They excel at that,
Like when half their defense would be 4-3 and half their defense would be 3-4.
It's
like Michael Bennett, who half the other teams wouldn't use. He's perfect because he only does two things in their defense.
Yeah.
But he does those things very well.
And
Like, I need you to do these
makes-
two things, and that's what he does really well. That's
what makes somebody like Malcolm Jenkins so good, because he can do so many things at a high level. He can do pretty much everything. But if you can't do those things, it doesn't mean that you can't play.
There's not enough of those guys in the world.
Yeah, it's like a team of specialists in a way, yeah?
I think the Eagles' challenge is to kind of put them in the position where they're not doing the things they're comfortable with. So whether it be alignments, matchups, like whatever formations, kind of whatever they're calling, move the people that are comfortable doing only a couple things, make them do other things. So make your Patrick Chung do a little bit more than that. Can the offense dictate to them what the safety's going to do? Probably by the play calling.
Ooh.
So it's up to Doug and Reich and
to force Patrick Chung
to kind of
into a position he doesn't want to do.
Right. And that's a challenge.
Yeah.
Can you do that? I mean, it's not a given that can be done, but you can try to call plays that put him in position where he's not comfortable and his skill set doesn't match what the defense will have to ask him to do.
I like that.
Yeah, and one of the things that Brad mentioned a little bit earlier, how they have different fronts and they're really like a hybrid. That's one of their biggest things. So they've struggled against the run this year. So that's a big advantage for the Eagles, because that forces New England, in those rundowns. If you watch the Jaguars game, you watch like the 1st and 10s, the 2nd and 8s, the heavy rundowns. They're bringing big, heavy personnel, and they're lining their guys up. A lot of times, they're D linemen in a bear front, which puts one D tackle on the guard, one D tackle on the center, and one D tackle on the other guard. So you have three guys lined up, 3-on-3, right across in the middle. And that really eliminates the possibility of double teams up the middle and really makes it hard for somebody like Kelsey or Brandon Brooks to get to the second level and get on the linebackers. Because now if you're trying to run up the middle and you're trying to get the linebackers, now the tackles or tight ends are going to have to come over to be able to get the linebackers and seal them off. So it makes it really hard. And the Patriots will mix up their looks. They'll run the bear packages. They'll run a bunch of different fronts, which is going to make it difficult early for the Eagles. But the Eagles, because of if the Patriots, let's say the Patriots run defense really good, they could they could play the Eagles pretty honestly. They could keep the same team on the field, keep their nickel package in the field, and play the run with their nickel.
But it's not. But
it's not. So they're going to have to. The Patriots defense is going to have to be very reactive to the personnel that the Eagles have on the field. So they can bring out Trey Burton, bring out Zach Ertz and Brent Selleck and Corey Clement. And who's going to match up with those guys? They don't have enough. That's when you're getting James Harrison matched up on, Trey Burton. That's a huge advantage.
Yeah, they don't got linebacker speed.
Right. Corey Clement on, a Landon Roberts. That's a big deal. Or, okay, go the other way. Come out in 11 personnel. Make them respect the pass. Make the Patriots come out in the nickel. First of all, anytime you get Eric Rowe on the field matched up with Nelson Aguilar, that's a big mismatch.
It is.
Second of all, if you put them in those pass alignments instead of letting them run their heavy packages, now that's going to open up the middle. Now Jason Kelsey and Brandon Brooks and Whiskey are going to probably dominate where they have a sizable advantage right there in the trenches. So I think the Eagles can really dictate because of the situations New England's in. The Eagles will have the ability to dictate based on what personnel they put on the field.
Now, do you think if they go their personnel and we get a favorable matchup on a certain down, that the Eagles might consider going hurry up a little bit so they can't sub out of it, so we can continue to take advantage of it for a drive, or at least a couple plays anyway?
Yeah, for sure. You can hit them with a couple quick passes and then tire those big old fat guys out and then dice them up the middle. You can take advantage of them, I think. And I think the Eagles are, again, and I make fun of this because everyone's like, oh, Belichick likes to take away the one thing. Like, yeah, everybody does that. At least that's their goal.
I love when you do the perfect sports fan trope voice. I like it.
It's not like defensive coordinators are like, I'm going to take away the worst thing they do.
They'll make it coming.
Yeah, so everybody does that. But, if I was the Patriots, I would try to take away, the Eagles, the run game, right? And and when you do that, you're exposing yourself to other things. So
no, it's kind of exciting because I think we have a really good chance, especially how they're kind of bend but don't break defense. I think we have a chance to take advantage of quite a bit of things, and knowing that they really clamp down around the 20. I'm thinking that
in the red zone. Yeah.
This is what I'm thinking if I'm Doug and Frank Reich. So as you approach their 40, 30-yard line, I'm thinking you're taking deep shots before they flip it and try to condense it and change things and all of a sudden try to make you a field goal. I'm taking my deep shots when you're at the 40 to 30-yard line.
Before they get that 20-yard.
Before they clamp down and try to make things really tight in a short playing field. So that I think you can reach out. I mean, Torrey Smith, how many of our guys have caught 35 to 40-yard touchdown passes? I mean, Aguilar's caught a couple. Torrey Smith's caught a couple. Jeffrey's caught a couple.
Yeah,
Ertz has caught a few. So we have people that can make those kind of plays. So I think they're going to take shots before they get into that zone where they kind of turn things around, which is around the 20-yard line. So I expect us to kind of target the end zone before we get that to that point where they kind of shut things down. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm not even sure, honestly, if they can shut the Eagles down. I just think that, again, you talk about Belichick taking away your favorite thing. Like the Eagles, to me, that's a big difference between this 04 team. The 04 team went, everything went through Westbrook or T.O. So you could theoretically take those two out of the game, and T.O. was playing on a broken ankle or whatever. This team really doesn't have that. They have, Alshon Jeffrey's their number receiver. Ertz is a good tight end. But, we've seen so many plays from Nelson Aguilar. Mac Hollins sprinkles in here and there. Torrey Smith sprinkles in. And the running game is incredible. So, there's too many weapons this year. Guys like Trey Burton. There's nobody to really take out, I guess. You can take one out and we'll still be fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we've succeeded with each of these guys having success. So it's not like you said, it's not like we're T.O. and Westbrook dependent. we're certainly probably use Ertz a little bit more than everyone else, but outside of that, everybody gets their fair play. Aguilar had a great season, certainly stepped up over his first 2 years. And we have people we can go to. Trey Burton, specialty kind of tight end that comes in our third tight end. He's a mismatch for the majority of people that will be lining up against him for the Patriots. So we have people.
Corey Clement sneaks in there and gets some touchdowns.
It's easy to say you're going to take away one or two things, but when you have like 5 things to kind of worry about, then you kind of have a problem. I mean,
but doesn't all run us getting good Nick? I mean, if Nick Foles gets in a bad Nick, we have a problem. That's my biggest fear.
Well,
is Nick just starts throwing really.
The turnover battle is going to be critical.
Yeah,
we cannot lose the turnover battle and win
or penalties. Really, I mean, we got to play a very game. I think.
No, I would say I would agree exactly what you just said. If they lose the turnover battle, there's no way they're winning a game.
No.
They have to.
And the refs
be
might be biased.
And you're even happy with punting the ball and putting your defense back on the field. And I know that's crazy to say against Brady, but Brady isn't.
They play safe.
He's not the Brady of like the 16-0 year where they blown teams up.
40 inning.
Yeah, they're more conservative, and he can't make the throws he used to down the field. So he's more range quarterback, and he's still very accurate. I don't want to take that away from him, but I do think that our best plan, I don't know how you avoid turnovers, but Nick has to be smart with the ball and just make sure that.
If you have to eat an occasional sack, then you do that. You don't do what
eat the
Case
sack,
Keenum
throw the
did.
ball away.
Yeah.
Just make sure that
Can't blindly chuck the ball.
Yeah, make sure that you are able to punt and put your defense back. Make sure they have a long field to drive and make them earn it.
Because the Patriots have gotten a lot of good field position. I mean, that's a lot of the secret to their success is they always get this really good field position.
Well, their special teams are very good. And, we have to make sure that if we're going to bring it out of the end zone, make sure you get past the 25, or kneel the ball. Just make sure you're not losing yards. We saw a couple clips in the playoffs. I think Tennessee ran one out and Jacksonville ran one out, and they're getting tackled at the 15, 16-yard line when they could have just downed it in the end zone and got it at the 25. You can't lose yards to them. That's the hidden beast. Like, how many yards do you have to drive for a score?
Right.
So, we have a pretty good special teams, but they have good special teams too. So we have to make sure we're not giving yards away. Because you can only expect Nick to do so much.
But are you worried about Brady? Because he has stated in a Facebook documentary that you better be prepared to give up your life because he's given up his. Does that concern you at all? Or
I mean, he basically stole that line from Ray Lewis, who I'm sure stole that line from numerous other people beforehand.
I just wanted to shit on Brady. That's all that was.
No, that's Tom versus time. So I think time's catching up, and I think time is now.
But he runs around
such a
his
douche.
palatial
He was
estate with how many
The
psychopaths
time is now. Time has caught up with him. It's time for a new.
He needs to get knocked off that god. I mean,
new
the fact
generation,
that
it's time
honestly,
for-
the fact he put out that obnoxious Facebook documentary, he deserves to get. He needs to go. Like he has jumped the goddamn shark.
He should get pile driven into the turf.
I think this is the end of their run, so I think they're going to be sharp and they're going to be ready to play. But I think we win on the lines. I think we win on the defensive lines. I think we have an advantage in both of those, and that can dictate the game.
Agreed. I think the offensive line, especially, I think be key. I think they're a total, aside from the random tricks here in the bare fronts that the New England's going to run. The Eagles' offensive line is a total mismatch for that front seven.
Yeah, no, I think we're going to do good things. And
Are you worried about Vitae at all on that end? Or
no, they did things, and whether it's Vitae playing better, but they did a lot of things to help protect Vitae. They would have a tight end lineup on Vitae's side to help with the blocking, or they'll have a running back chip out of the backfield. They've done a lot of things, and Vitae's played well enough, but they don't leave him blocking solos so much. I mean,
even when they, sorry, Brad, I was going to say, even when they do, they have when they don't give them a tight end or they don't chip them out of the backfield, they'll run quick games, so the defensive line doesn't even have time to get to the quarterback, even if he was going to beat Vitae, or they run a screen There's so many things they can do to. And honestly, the Patriots don't have that great.
They don't have an Everson Griffin. I mean, how much were we hearing going into this game? Everson Griffin on Vitae, Everson Griffin, and then I didn't hear a word out of. Did he make a play in the game? Did he do anything?
And Daniel Hunter, whom I didn't even hear about, they ended up giving Lane Johnson help against Daniel Hunter, and he still got through sometimes. Like, he looked like young JPP to me, and I don't know why I hadn't heard of this dude prior, because he looked really good.
Well, maybe he looked good because they were focusing more on Griffin.
Probably.
Yeah. Okay, and the rest of them. Well, the Eagles weren't supposed to score a point, according to some people in that game.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. We're going to be an underdog again.
I think that's where they want to be. I mean, I think it motivates them. I think they like it. So I'm all for it.
If we win the turnover battle, we win the game.
And I think they need to keep the penalties down because they can shoot themselves in the damn foot with some of those stupid penalties. They can't do that shit. So I think if they keep that tight, because I don't know. I don't want to go all conspiracy, but the refs seem kind of chummy with them at times. The Peyton talking about.
There was some funny, yeah.
There are some
funny clips that made you laugh.
I feel like you almost got to be a little more tighter with your game because maybe
the
they're
timing
looking
of this
for it.
makes it look weird. Yeah,
I don't like the ref conspiracy. I think the best team's going to win, and whatever. I mean, Jalen Mills does commit penalties at times, and sometimes when he doesn't even have to. But we have players that occasionally will make plays that will cause them to throw flag.
Well, hopefully we'll get a stupid ass like Gronk body slam bullshit, and he'll get thrown out of the game early.
We will assume that they're playing on the same rules that we're playing with. Yeah,
but I mean, either way, I mean, depending on how you feel about it or not, they need to not have penalties. They need to keep the stupid shit low because they can't give anything to the Patriots because they will take advantage.
But that's all relative. Like people have said for a long time that if you want to call a holding penalty on any play of the game, you could. So it's all when the refs are going to call their fouls and stuff like that. You just can't make the obvious ones when you don't have to. And Jalen Mills is one of the bigger culprits on the Eagles' defense as far as getting penalties.
And we can't have the weird, like, you got your feet inbounds, Trey Burton. You can't let the ball bounce off your damn ankle when it's getting punted. Like, a lot of that weird shit can't happen, I think.
Well, I mean, I
understand something that's just bad luck. I understand something that's just bad luck, but that can't happen.
But, I don't want to see the slow start. Like, they had a really bad start. Torrey Smith dropped that pass.
The Pats start their Super Bowl slow. You have to capitalize on that because they will be monsters in the third and fourth quarter.
Yeah.
But Smith did kind of make up for it by catching that other touchdown pass later on.
Sure.
So,
and he usually gets a nice PI call here and there.
So, what do you guys think? So we'll flip it. We talked a little bit about the Patriots defense and how the Eagles can take advantage of that. What do you think about Josh McDaniel versus the Eagles defense and Jim Schwartz?
So I got one little wrinkle that I found very interesting they pulled last week against Jacksonville, and this was on their first drive of the game. They came out right away in a big set and then moved their fullback, James Devlin, to the bottom side of the screen. And kind of like the way the Packers used to do with Richard Sherman, where they're like, we're going to put our worst guy over there. They just put their fullback on Phil's best corner, Ramsey, down at the bottom, and was like, just take him. And then they just ignored him. And that was kind of what they did for their whole first drive. They just ran no huddle and kept their fullback on their corner and then just attacked everywhere else. I found that very interesting and frankly wouldn't be surprised if they pulled something like that on Darby. And we're going to take him out of the picture, and now we got Mills. We'll see if we can pick on Robinson. We'll see if we can pick on the linebackers.
Well, they do like to maximize matchups, and that's certainly a case that. And Jim Schwartz's tendency would be to not move your cornerback, so you're going to have.
He's not a flipper.
You're going to have generally at the top of the screen, left to right, and Mills at the bottom of the screen. So. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me to see the Patriots move somebody like that, like somebody they don't intend to throw to, take out your best defender and their least likely offensive option and do something like that. Mm-hmm. But, I hope the defense, I hope Schwartz has some wrinkles for them as well. I do think Brady's one of the best against the blitz, and I do think we're going to blitz less than we have. Ooh. I think our blitz
very
rate,
much so.
Our blitz rate is at about 20-something%, which is lower tier. I think it's the lowest 10 of the league. But I think it's going to be even lower this game. I think we're going to say we're going to try to beat you with our front four getting to you, and we're going to keep everybody else back in coverage to make sure big plays don't happen.
Keenum was pressured on about half of his dropbacks last week, but he is bad under pressure, and Tom Brady's the best in the league under pressure with a 99% or 96% passer rating.
But he's still worse under pressure than he is not under pressure.
Right. If you have to choose,
Right.
If you have to choose a bad bullet to bite, you'll bite that one.
Yes. I
Well,
agree.
I think one of the reasons he's so good under pressure from a numbers standpoint is because they specialize in that short passing game. So, like,
Very much so.
When shit hits the fan, you just give it to Danny Amendola or Deion Lewis. And that's kind of what their offense goes through. If it's not hitting Gronk, for 20 yards down the seam, it's Deion Lewis coming out of the backfield, or it's Danny Amendola from the slot.
Or Rex Burkhead for 6 yards, the same stuff. Yeah.
And so I think, one of the things, and I don't know if it's good or bad, because I just have a feeling that Gronk is not going to be a huge factor in this game because of the Eagles' pass rush.
I think so.
The Eagles' pass rush. Gronk is typically a on the field type of tight end, and the Eagles' pass rush is going to. If they're not getting a ton of sacks, they are going to get some pressure, which is going to force Brady to get rid of the ball. So I think we're looking at a lot of Amendola and a lot of James White and Deion Lewis. And, it's going to come down to our ability to tackle. It's going to come down to our ability to make the tackle, not give up, not get burned, and let a 7-yard angle route by Deion Lewis turn into a 35-yard gain. And on one hand, it's good. Like maybe we can, because of the way our defense is built, we can take Gronk out of the game, which is a major. And I'm sure they're not going to take him completely out of the game, but if you can limit him and don't let his catches really impact you.
Well, how do you limit him,
win.
Sean? I mean, he's such a big freak of a man. Like, who do
Well,
you
I don't
cover
think
him with?
you can. I don't think you can limit him like that. I think Malcolm Jenkins will probably be on him, but
Play a high-low.
Aside, you can double him here and there, but the only way to limit him is really just to prevent Brady from having enough time to get it downfield.
Put Brady on his back. Yeah.
Well, and here's the other thing, too. I do think that we're susceptible to the swing passes, wheel routes, and the screen passes to the running back. So what I've seen way too often, and this comes with coaching, and I hope they change it, is that often when we throw screen passes, I see all four of our defensive linemen crashing towards the quarterback. Only one person needs to go after the quarterback in that situation. We need the other defensive lineman to peel off and make sure those blockers aren't getting blocks downfield. I mean, I know it's easier said, but very often where we get gouged by these screen passes, it's the fact that we have four defensive linemen, bearing down on the quarterback, and he's checking up, waiting time, buying space to make these plays into big plays. So we have to make sure that, one person goes after the quarterback and everybody else peels off and make sure these gains aren't big gains.
The whole defense really functions on, like, the D-line, go, 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 go. So that is kind of a functional mismatch.
It's a recognition. It's ability
Yes.
to say that, this offensive lineman just gave me an Olay and I have a free shot to the quarterback and the three other defensive linemen are right next to me peeling out. That means that one person has to have the quarterback and everybody else has to have the responsibility of dropping back and making sure that these screens don't become big plays, because we have been susceptible to that. I mean, teams have gouged us with that.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, we do have our weaknesses. So, I mean, I'm sure they saw the tape and they're going to try to run these things. It's just, are we able to make the adjustments to kind of
adjustments to their adjustment, right?
Right. Yeah, it's that's why they call it a chess match. So you're taking a look at what you don't do all that well, knowing that they know that. How can you compensate for that? But I would say one thing that I feel comfortable about the Eagles are always smart about making adjustments. They see things not only for the game, but as the game starts, they'll make adjustments to make things
Certainly
happen.
on defense.
We've been fantastic about that the entire year. We've had plays that have gouged, but very rarely have plays gouged us through the entire game. we'll make an adjustment. We'll see something that, somebody gets a quick hitter for like 20 yards, but you won't see repeatedly the same play beating us.
Yeah,
So,
and I think a lot of that has to do with, I think we tend to panic sometimes early on. Like I threw my phone when the Vikings drove down the field on the first drive on us.
Oh, the first quarter freak out? Yeah, absolutely.
But,
I'm guilty of that as well.
At the same time, that those are all scripted plays, right? And sometimes, especially on defense, you have to wait those out. You have to let those scripted plays come because they're trying to see how they're going to attack you. And you can't plan. You know that those scripted plays, they're going to be different.
Sean, just real quick, the scripted plays are defensive, right? It's not the offensive scripted plays. It's all
no, the offense usually has a scripted number of plays.
Okay. The offense is scripting plays, and the purpose of that isn't really to say like, we're going to get you guys in the 15 plays. It's really to
test them,
test you, and see. Okay, if we put our 11 personnel package on the field and we line up in this formation, how are you going to respond as a defense? And then later in the game, that's going to help me because I'm going to say, all right, let's put this out. We're going to expect this response, and hopefully we can hit them with this play. But those scripted plays, you don't really know what you're going to get. They're typically things that you're not prepared for, that you haven't seen on tape before.
If you're the opposing defense, you're saying.
Yeah, as a defense. So like the first, 2 drives usually, they're always a little bit fluky. But that's when you'll see later on, they'll have time. Jim Schwartz will have time and say, all right, I see what they're doing. Here's how we're going to respond. And Schwartz has done a good job with that. And part of that is just the fact that the Eagles players are good. So eventually they're like, well, we figured out what you're doing. Now we're just going to stop you. But, like Brad said, credit goes to the staff. I think, Schwartz has done a great job with that. And Peterson's been amazing too. Every time, Peterson comes out with his scripted plays, the defense is responding to it. He runs that little play to Aguilar. And so the following week against the Vikings, he has Aguilar line up in the same spot. And when the Vikings defense prepares to stop Aguilar, and he runs out and throws a little screen pass to a tight end on the other side. So like he's always one step. The Eagles, both offensive and defensively, have been very good with adjustments and trying to stay one step ahead of the opponent.
I agree, man. I feel like Doug really has gained my confidence in the later half of the season, and he's just he's like somebody I was really unsure about early on this year to somebody that I trust. Like I'm okay. You don't want to get behind the Patriots early. They're traditionally slow starters, so I'm not that worried about it. But even if we get down early, I'm still confident we're going to adjustments to make positive gains and keep it a game. So I'm not worried at all about an early score from the Patriots.
Well, it seems like that's sort of pattern. Everybody scores early on the Eagles, and then they sort it out. I mean, that's when we're throwing their phones, and I'm freaking out and blowing up the texts.
Well, I'm exactly making a thing that I will not throw things.
But
on
if you look
drive.
at the Patriots, there's the same way.
I promise nothing.
Tennessee was up 7-0 early on the Patriots, and also in the
Jacksonville was the host of the game
early on them and for the majority of the game. So they're also a team that reacts. It's like a punch counter punch kind of thing where it's the chess match, and it's kind of crazy. Like with the teams that are kind of adjustment teams, I expect the early game to go on without many scores early on. I expect it to be low scoring early on, and as the teams figure out, it's who's going to do a better job of coaching one and executing two, and then that's going to determine the.
And if to me, I think can the Eagles deal with that? Because I feel like the Patriots always sort of have that strong push at the end. Like they just do that, like look at the Falcons Super Bowl last year where they make those ridiculous catches and just if they can disrupt that, if they can disrupt that sort of like that push, that weird sort of like. I don't even know. It just seems almost supernatural the way they sort of start scoring at the end of games sometimes after they look like they've been stopped previously.
Yeah.
If they can come up against that, think they're good.
I
But
don't think you want to try to play from behind at the end of the game with the Patriots.
I don't think
you
so.
want to be ahead and then just counterpunch and hold on for dear
Right.
life. They're going to be coming at you with everything they have at the end of the game, and it's hard to stop them. I mean, they just
they're killers at the end.
Time and time again,
Right.
they score points late in the game. So you have to be able to counterpunch that.
If I had the choice, I think I would rather it be the Eagles have to drive to score to win than the Patriots have to drive to score to win.
Right, but
Yeah,
it's almost like the team with the ball at the end of the game may win the game.
Two tricky questions for you guys. Would you rather be up 2 with 1 minute left, or let's say like 2 minutes left, up 2 minutes left, Tom Brady has the ball, or would you rather be down 2 minutes left, Nick Foles has the ball?
Down 2.
I'm also going to say down.
2 minutes left with just a field goal to get and a great kicker.
Yeah.
Advantage Tom Brady.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's a little easier. All right, so this one's a little harder. Ready? Eagles have the ball. They're up 2 points. There's 2 minutes left in the game. It's 4th down on the Patriots' 5-yard line. Do you go for the touchdown and put the game away and win it? Or do you kick the field goal, take a 5-point lead, and give the ball back to Brady with 2 minutes left?
Just like Atlanta, I kicked the goal. That was a hard thing for me to go through in Atlanta, but the right choice was trying to make them drive for the
Yes, it was.
touchdown. Because
you don't
they
even-
got into field goal range
don't
with
even
ease.
feel cold, yeah.
They got into field goal range with ease, but scoring a touchdown so much harder than kicking a field goal, even for Tom Brady, that I would have to say go with a 5-point lead and make him drive all the way down the field. You're probably going to get a touchback. He gets about the 25. He has to drive 75 yards. It
would suck to watch. It really would.
Well, there are a lot of painful.
This whole
But
game.
Doug really wanted to go for that and actually call a timeout to avoid the delay of game because he really wanted to go for that, and they talked him out of it.
A touchdown could win the game, and at that point, they'll have to drive, the same number of yards, but they're starting at their own 5.
Right.
But a field goal is easier to. It's easier to.
Yes, it is. That's
It's easier to
like
make
a
a field goal
30-yard
than a
difference.
touchdown. Yeah. But no. I mean, it's about the same because getting into field goal versus getting a touchdown is
Right.
a 30-yard difference as well.
They have a good kicker on New
So
England
it's
there,
the
too.
same
I mean,
number
he's
of
not-
yards you have to get. You have to
Yeah, I
get to
think
the
it's-
30 to get a field goal. You have to get to the end zone to get a touchdown. So you're getting an extra couple yards to be back at the 5 versus the 25 or 30, but you're also offsetting on the other end.
Close
I think
enough.
it's easy to be scared of Brady. Obviously, he's done it so many times in his career, and I think we've seen the Eagles give it up so many times in our lives. But you know what? There's just something different about this team. They've just found a way time and time again, so many times this season. And granted, some of them were against lesser teams, but you need those things. Games. The Eagles had a handful of blowouts, and they had a handful of close games that were maybe closer than you wanted them to be. But that's how it works. And good teams find a way to win those games. I'm going to just go through the schedule real quick and think about each game. Eagles were able to it wasn't always looking that great, but they found a way to dig out every single one of these. Just listen to how many times they did it. Redskins week 1, Giants week 3, Chargers week 4, Panthers week 6, Redskins week 7. Then they have a couple blowouts. The Cowboys game wasn't going so well in the first half, and then they kicked their ass in the second half. The Rams game, they lose Carson Wentz. And I wasn't even paying attention after that because I kind of just gave up on everything.
Yeah.
And they dug that thing. That was an incredible win. They just dug it out. Then the following week, the Giants, they're down 21-7. They dig it out. Then they beat the Raiders at home in one of the ugliest games ever. But they find a way to get the improper interception at the end and find a way to win the game. Then they do it again in the playoffs against the Falcons, and then they kick the shit out of the Vikings. But they've done it so many times. That's a learned skill. And the first time in the Falcons game, the first time in my life as an Eagles fan, when a team had the ball first and goal, I thought, we're not going to lose this game. I legitimately thought that we were going to find a way to win, and we did. And I think the mindset, and it's kind of takey. It's kind of corny to say, but I just, it's a learned skill, and I think there's a value to that, and the Eagles have it. And if it came down to it, I think they'd find a way again.
Well, here are the thoughts that we didn't hear. Your you proposed questions, but you didn't answer how you would take them as far as the down two and the.
Well, the down two, I definitely want Foles with the ball, not Brady. I'd rather be down two, and I think I'd kick the field goal too. I think my argument would be, the Eagles rode the coattails of their defense to get here.
Right.
Let the defense win the game. Let Fletcher Cox earn his paycheck. And just get it done.
Oh, and Malcolm Jenkins just lead like the man that he is.
Being the Eagles the way they are, I would almost have to think that this is going to go this way. If they're up 5, and the Patriots get the ball, they touch back with 2 minutes left. I would say with a minute left, they're already at a 1-yard line, and you have to sweat it out for the last fucking 45 seconds for the game. You just have to hold on to your hat.
They have like 9 plays from the 20-yard line.
4 heart attacks, 3 aneurysms, and
God. They go through 2 pairs of draws.
I just know. I mean, look at the Atlanta game. They're all the way down there, and they're just like, oh my God. Yeah. But it's much harder in that situation to score the touchdown than it is to kick the field goal. So, even the play on the other end, if you execute the play, you could be up 2 scores. So 4th and goal from 5 on the Atlanta, and the game's over.
Doug's very allured by that. I know he is.
And that's the thing. Do you especially? You remember that game a couple of years ago where the Chiefs lost to the Patriots in the playoffs, and they had that horrible clock management.
And
afterwards they said, "Why did you do that?" And they said, "Because we decided we didn't want to give the ball back to Brady. We were just going to try the onside kick instead." So Doug probably remembers that, and I'm sure he remembers it. And if it comes down to it at the end of the game, if he has a chance to have his offense make one play to put the game away and to keep Tom Brady out of it, I think he might do it.
Ooh. Yeah, but I think it's a difference between, say they're up 4 and they still need to go down and do a touchdown. I say they definitely go for it because Patriots still need to. But if they're down less than a field goal, I think they don't do it. Like the field goal, I think having Brady with 2 minutes left go down and kick a field goal, I think that's almost a given.
Yeah, I do too.
But of course, that's in the 40 to 60% chance that you don't convert the touchdown.
We are talking about big balls, Doug, though.
Hey, yeah, true.
Speaking of Pearson, I did this article, and I got to read this to you guys because I was very proud of it.
Pimp it.
I did this article. It was on Howie Roseman actually, but one of the things I was crediting for was hiring Doug Peterson. That's only 2 sentences. It says Roseman is primarily responsible for acquiring player talent, but it would be silly not to mention his role in bringing in Dopey Doug Peterson. Not only has Dopey Doug proven that he is not the Clark Griswold many thought he was, but he's on full Liam Neeson, unleashing a particular set of skills nobody knew he had in kicking the shit out of the rest of the league.
That's a great analysis.
I love that.
Clark Griswold, because I did think of him as the Clark.
Yeah, he was.
I will cop. I really thought of him as a straight up stooge.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He was an interim to be a stooge.
No. And instead, he's the one banging his secretary on the sly, and no one even notices.
Right.
He is a monster.
He's just a golly killer.
Yeah. He is a straight killer.
Right. He's someone unassuming that is just actually smarter than most of the people out there. You can't even recognize,
And he's got that attitude, go ahead, think I'm stupid.
Yep.
Yeah, he doesn't present himself as somebody that's going to overwhelm you or have all the decisions made ahead of time that'll kind of make your world a nightmare. But he is. He's very smart. He's very intelligent. He has good people around him, and they have a great team chemistry, a great coaching chemistry, and a great GM. And
Absolutely.
Great quarterback.
Those guys want to play for him, which I did not expect when they first got him.
And outside of next year, who knows what happens as far as the tweaking goes. We have 19 to 22 starters kind of back next year, and we may be able to. Hopefully, we'll be able to sneak Patrick Robinson back in there. So we're going to have the majority of the team back next year, plus Carson Wentz. Next year, the Super Bowl plus next year are going to be great. They should be great. Injuries obviously can dictate things, but it should be really good.
This is
You
a
should be
special
excited
team.
about
I mean,
this.
I hate to get dopey and sort of say that because, but it really is a special team. Those guys, really like each other. They play hard for one another. And none of them seem selfish, which is odd to me in an NFL situation. You know what I mean? In professional sports.
The coach says this is what you need to do, and they execute more often than not.
But I mean, it's not.
Because
But I mean,
Doug
you can,
is dreamy.
but you can say that. It doesn't mean everybody's going to buy in. You know what I mean? They all buy in. They're all happy to be there. They're all there together. It's awesome to see. It's fantastic. It's so exciting that this is the Eagles.
It's like the anti-dream team when they brought all those people in that were selfish, kind of first players, and what was supposed to be a great season devolved into a 4-12 season.
Yes.
It's the anti that.
It's almost like the architect of that team learned his lesson.
Yeah.
They like being the owner. Go ahead, dismiss us. We like that because we're gonna go ram it down your throat anyways. We don't care. All I care about is these dudes in the locker room in this city. I don't give a shit about us.
Exactly.
And they're better at the point of attack. They're strong on both sides, and so much is dictated. It's the unheralded hero, offensive and defensive lines.
Oh, yeah.
when people win, and we have the better of both of those in this game.
And the way this team has stepped up, I mean, we already listed the litany of injuries they had. How many teams collapse out of one of those or two of those? We're fucked. That's it. So done for us. Never. This is a never say die team. And it's impressive to see, a legitimate never to say die team.
And they know how important any old game against the Patriots would be for their owner, let alone the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
A lot of those guys were there not just a year or two ago when Laurie was like, Chip, you're not going to motivate the team. I'll go motivate the team in the locker room, and I'll make them T-shirts, and I'll play coach because I want this win against the Patriots that bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you're a weirdo on the spectrum that doesn't know how to get shit done, yeah.
Well, we'll see how Weirdo on the Spectrum does at UCLA this year. So
I don't give a fuck how he does at UCLA this year.
I'm curious. I'm not really that. I'm interested, but I'm not passionate about it.
Sure.
But
I'm also
interested.
Curious. You're curious.
because I think Chip has skills that will work well on the college level that doesn't work when you're getting paid $10 million a year in the pro level.
When you can
But
bully
not a
people that
Liam
aren't
Neeson
actually
set of
grown-ass men.
skills.
Yeah.
I think Chip is meant to be a college coach, and I think he will succeed to some level there.
Oh, I think so. I mean, he's got schemes. He's talented. I just don't think he's good with professional men. I think he's used to being like, this is the way it is, and everybody's a college kid, so they go, okay. And then if the real honest guy professionals have been around, they're like, and who the fuck are you? But I don't know. There's a lot of things going on with shit.
Oh, he's a social shorty, so whatever.
But fuck him because he's on the Super Bowl because Doug Peterson is.
All right.
All right. Can I do a prediction here?
Prediction
Let's
time.
do some predictions.
All right.
Go ahead, man.
Let's see.
Negative
Here.
Mike
Mike.
Wallace. I think
not
Mike
this
Wallace.
time.
Mike Wallace had the Eagles regular season at 13, I think.
And he had them
that was,
losing
I
to the
think that was
Vikings as well. Just reminding.
Just
That's
better be a
unofficial.
loss, Mike.
That's unofficial. That's unofficial.
That's why I wanted to go first. I will say Eagles rack up 200 yards of rushing out of the 11 personnel. The Pats can't stop it. As soon as they make an adjustment, start passing. I'm going to go 27-23 Birds.
I like it.
I like it. That's good stuff. Go, Robbie.
I'm around with Mike, but I'm going to get a little excited. I'm going to go 32-25 Birds. I think there might be a little more scoring involved.
That's an unorthodox score. That's a really
I don't
odd
do-
mixture of touchdowns and field goals.
There must be a safety in
32-25.
there.
You absolutely
Yeah,
understand
that's,
that I don't do math well. This should measure.
I can't remember the last 32-25 game I've seen, but
And
who
when
am
that
I?
shit turns out to be 32-25, I want y'all to go, God damn, Rob. Is that Nostradamus out of the mic? What do you think of Bradford?
I think that I think we're going to squeeze out a win. I think Foles is going to have the last chance with the ball. I think we're going to drive down and kick a field goal and win 24-23. They're going to kick a field goal with about 15 seconds left, and the game's going to be over.
All right. Where you going, Sean?
So I got a little history lesson for you guys.
Let's have it.
So 16 years ago, this country just went through September 11th. We were approaching the Super Bowl. The Rams and the Patriots were playing, and the country needed a change. They needed something special to raise their spirits after the terrible September 11th happenings. And lo and behold, the Patriots, who were the underdog and were just, the the name Patriots, it was exactly what we needed. They won the Super Bowl very expectedly. Fast forward 16 years, we have the Patriots are now the Trump dynasty.
Yep, they're the one percenters.
They're the one percenters. And in a time, again, where the country needs some pick-me-ups, you have guys like Malkins, Chris Long, trying to make a difference in the community. You have a team of underdogs who aren't expected to go anywhere, come out of nowhere. And I think we're seeing a change in the tide. I think the game's going to come out early on. I think it's going to go back and forth a little bit, be a little nerve-wracking. And in the second half, I think the Eagles are going to do what they've done all season and just take it to them. I think it's going to be 28-24. The Eagles are going to win only because the Patriots score scrambling at the end. I think the second half, the Eagles really just stamp their ass.
I love it.
The birthplace of the nation. I feel like Nick Cage should be doing a National Treasure movie.
Wins. And before we drift off here today, I want to see Mike pulled up in the history of football how many 32-25 scores there have been in every football game ever played.
That's right.
And there would only be 3.
It's going to be a special game, right?
There would only be 3 of them.
I feel like one of them is the Eagles.
It is. It's the Eagles-Cardinals.
Oh! Yes, sir. See, they've done it before, fellas.
32-25 in January 18th, 2009, when the Cardinals went to the Super Bowl against the Steelers. The Cardinals beat the Eagles 32-25. So
it's going to be the reverse this time.
Was that the Deshaun Jackson bomb game in the Super Bowl or in the playoffs?
That was the late Larry Fitzgerald 3rd and 9
Yes, okay.
Touchdown that one late.
I remember DJ caught a bomb and then ran backwards in the end zone there.
Yeah.
But then Larry Fitzgerald had his monster.
So what you're saying is there's precedence.
It's entirely possible.
Absolutely.
It's happened 3 times.
32-25 is happening.
Do we know how many games have been played since the beginning of football and now?
Oh, let's find a percentage of this.
3 out of 3,900.
Look, fellas, it is a special team playing a special game, special score.
That's amazing.
That's what I'm
Only
saying.
three games that were ever 32-25. So right across the board, we have an Eagles win predicted from every one of us. And I just want to say a thanks to our listeners.
Absolutely.
It's been a wonderful season.
Fantastic.
And I want to say thanks to the co-hosts here. It's been great working with you. And we'll recap after the season's over, but it's been a great season. And I look forward to Sunday. And cheers to you all.
Cheers gents.
I want to give a shout out to Shane. I want to give a shout out to our silent executive producer, my lovely Miss Julia. Thank you for being a listener. I'm going to give it up to everybody that listens, and thank you very much for being here with us. We love you. Thank you so much for supporting us. We dig it.
And to the Grandstand Sports Network.
And to the Grandstand Sports Network. I'm trying to think of some other hardcore fans. I'm sure you're out there.
And MeUndies.
And MeUndies. Fleshlight, sure.
Yes.
Whatever we need.
Yeah.
Why not?
We've started to promote your product without you paying us yet, so we're waiting for reciprocation.
But absolutely, thank you all of us. Thank you all of us. Thank you all who listen to us wherever you are. I know they're scattered out throughout the country. We love the fact it's exciting for us to see that you listen to us. We appreciate it. We hope you like what we do. We're going to do some more of it for you. And this. Everybody get down for this game. This is the Eagles in the Super Bowl. None of us thought this was going to happen at the beginning of the season. I mean, if you did, you're a goddamn liar, because this is magic, and I'm excited to be here, fellas.
This is the penultimate of our season, so we'll see what happens here. We'll do a season recap, and we're looking forward to exciting changes moving forward.
I mean, not live from the lounge, because these fellas, ladies got to whatever. But no, it's leaking inside. All right. You got anything to add there, Sean?
Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Go fucking birds.
Let's fly. Good night. Take care. And we love you. Beers and Birds is a Lounge Legends production. With free beer tomorrow and a $5 charge for whining.
It's called the Ballad of St. Nick. Big Stick Nick, we believe in you. You dropped a big one on the Vikings and on the Falcons too. And if you're gonna cry about the way you were treated as a fan, don't go putting purple colors on the Rocky statue, man. We say Woodard, we say John, we say Dilly Dilly all night long. And if you think that we're afraid of Brady, well, you're Philly Dilly freaking wrong. We got Cox, we got Long, we got a secondary looking strong. Got Peterson and a visor there to lead us. And on the sidelines we got Ginger Jesus. So let's get rolling, one. I believe in you. Just knock him down right up the middle. Score a touchdown or 2 or 7. And if that doesn't work, just get around midfield for me. Cause Elliott's kicking bombs, and I bet he can make 63. Sweet Water, we say John, we say Dilly Dilly all night long. And if you think that we're afraid of Brady, well, you're Dilly Dilly in wrong. And we got Cox, we got Long, we got a secondary looking strong. Doug Peterson in a visor there to lead us. On the sidelines we got Ginger Jesus. Belichick, I'm sorry to say, you got some bigger balls coming your way. Broncos still kinda like you, but I hope that you can take this L today. You gotta take the L today. So give me an E, give me an A, give me a G, L-E-S, what does that say? Give me E, give me A, give me G, L-E-S, what does that say? Give me E, give me A, give me G, L-E-S, what does that say? Underdogs at home, but nobody can defeat us. Cause on the sidelines we got Ginger Jesus! Woo! I didn't write an ending for this yet, so...